Hello everyone, welcome back. So today I was thinking to make a little video, something like a reminder from now on for you whenever you feel lost on this path. So there's two reasons why somebody actually fails on this path. First, and the most obvious, is the fact that you perceive things, you have categorized things as like some of the things are spiritual and the rest of it, well, there's the world, there's life, whatever. So this actual separation of things creates this impossibility for you to attain the truth, to experience the truth and go within. You come from different backgrounds. You might be Christian, you might be, I don't know, Buddhist, Muslim, whatever, all these dogmatic things that you were brought up. You were brought up in different environments where you were told certain things, that certain activities, certain, I don't know, behaviors are spiritual and others are less, or they're not spiritual at all. This is a big, although it's simple, as I like to say, okay, we have to reconcile this too. This is actually a big divide, a really big divide that keeps people from attaining the truth about themselves. And by attaining that, actually, you really move forward. So this is the first thing that you need to do, is to reconcile the things that you perceive as spiritual and those things in your life that you perceive as non-spiritual. That's not to say that certain activities or things which belong to a higher energy or awareness are not better than others. I'm not necessarily saying that, although that also is not necessarily what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry, it's a little bit weird. But you really have to put all this thing together in your life. Everything that you consider life, spiritual or non-spiritual, you have to accept them, you have to take them in, you have to yes, you have to unite those things, you have to basically dissolve that separation and accept that every action, every behavior, every pattern is part of this bigger design which you're meant to experience, you're meant to learn from, grow as you grow your energy. And as you access more energy, then you access more higher thoughts, higher things to experience. So then you have the impression that what you've done before, it's lower, it's not spiritual, it's whatever. However, those are just, as I said before, different expressions of different levels of energy. So you have to make peace with all these things. It's not about what I choose and like, what is the highest option here for me to do, to think, in order for me to move forward on this path. It's about understanding that no matter what your level of energy is, your awareness, you have to put these two together, the non-spiritual and spiritual, what you have categorized as non-spiritual and spiritual, together. They have to melt this thing, they have to become one. There's no need for the separation. This keeps things always and forever separated and unattainable. It's like you are standing in front of the door, knocking at the door, and nobody's going to open that door for you, and you're never going to get in to really see what's inside. So once you do that, and this is actually a process of actually surrendering, of attaining truth, of embodying truth. So that's probably the hardest thing for most people, is how you can reconcile these things, because you learn, oh, this is spiritual, this is not so spiritual, this is whatever, this is evil. Well, everything, it can be something that can be positive and negative depending on the use, on the context. So you really have to merge all these things that you think, as I said, spiritual and non-spiritual, into one pot, and understanding that this is life and it's much more complex than you are taught. And only by doing so, by understanding that dissolving this separation is actually you becoming whole, you know. Another reason, the second reason which people fail to make any progress on this path, which actually, as I said, it's a path to freedom. It's not something that it's something idle or spiritual. I'm a floating vegetable. No, it's a path where you attain the truth and move forward, because then it's as you grow your energy and your obviously implicitly your awareness, life is more than just these little patterns. Most people, as I said, they're unable to see beyond life patterns. It's like not as something intellectually, but something that as an experience, something that you live moment to moment, the truth of the fact that that's a pattern, and you have space to move beyond it and see how you can change those things. But coming back to the second reason why people fail, is that when you start on this path, you start to look for, it's like you're gathering clues, you're gathering information to put together a bigger picture, a bigger understanding of things. So no matter where that picture starts being built, either from having just being religious, and then moving further, removing yourself from that dogmatic stuff and trying to find other pieces of information, and then you find, things about, as I said, aliens and whatever other things that are much more seducing. And not that these things are not true, but it's like when you stay in that, especially in this area with what you see, what kind of manipulation have taken place within this matrix, whatever. This has to do with galactic history and all sorts of other things. But then again, as I said, this is a level of story. So as you stay at this level of story, you will never be empowered. You can seek all you want. You can find the juiciest or the ugliest details about all sorts of things, and you will never really move forward, because you will stay there. And it's like, oh, look, they did this. I cannot do this because this is whatever. The truth is, the moment you understand, as I said, you dissolve the separation and between spiritual and non-spiritual, you start to really be empowered, first of all. So that's the thing. Staying on the path of seeking, you will never be empowered, because you will see all sorts of details in the story that will make you powerless and helpless, and you will never really be a sovereign being, because that's the problem. The story has many levels, and right now, for this time, is not as important to focus on those things, although you are free to explore all these things if you need to have a bigger picture. Although, as I said, there's a lot of distorted information out there about a lot of things, and that's why I always emphasize cleaning, because when you clean, when you access more truth, more light, you'll start to actually experience truth about a lot of things, and then you'll see for yourself certain things that if they're true or not, or half truth or whatever. So there's, as I said, there's two, going back like a little summary. There is the separation first. The first reason is separation, separating stuff between like spiritual and non-spiritual. And the second is by staying on this, like being a seeker, on the seeker path. And you can seek all you want forever and ever. And if you don't really stop to actually do the work, then you will forever be trapped in these things, in these stories, in these details that you'll never escape them. And you'll become frustrated, resentful. I have no chance. Look at what they did to us, what they're doing to us, or whatever. So you'll never really empower yourself. That's why I insist, and that's why I avoid to talk about certain details. I can point to certain books, I can point to certain things, but then also, as I said, keep in mind there's a lot of things that are still distorted, and the greatest way to find the truth is actually to find it within yourself. But of course, also by actually finding a book or finding an information is actually a way to, it's how you remember things. Although it may not seem like, this is not me remembering things inside myself. Yes, but it's an indirect form in your hologram. It's like you put that thing in your hologram, whatever that you'll find, that object or that book or that video or that thing, that those are things that your consciousness created so you can remember things. But it's deeper than that. So that with those things are just a level, but then there's other levels that you access only when that divides disappears and you do the work. Otherwise, it's just, you're going to be forever seeker. You're going to be trapped in this dogmatic stuff where you're like, no, this is not spiritual, only this, only if I'm like Zen and I'm not doing any work or whatever, or like, don't bother me right now, look, you're ruining my Zen and I don't want to deal with this or that, I don't want to clean this here, this is not my mess. These are what I call is childish. This is like kindergarten level where really most people are there, unfortunately. Only, as I said, only when you step above these things and you see, it's like, oh wow, then things start to change. Then you really start to access things. You have more power, real power. And there's things beyond this, as I said, this reality and this language of this reality that only can be understood when you have access to those things. If you don't have access to those things directly, then it's, yeah, you're still trapped here and it's impossible to understand what's beyond. I hope this was interesting. See you next time. Ciao. That's why I said come back to these videos whenever you want, how many times you want, because the